mentor this semester, Manya, she was awesome because she told me one time when I went to visit her, meet with her one-on-one, she was just like, all the stress you have or anything, you can tell me, like, that's what I'm here for, to be your mentor. And that was really just, I'm relieved just to hear that.
It gave me the opportunity to meet with a smaller group of people on a weekly basis that I otherwise may have never gotten to meet with. And that includes professors who sometimes seem inaccessible in a large lecture hall, where at private universities, you know, you're on a more individual basis with those professors. But now with the Churn-In program, you can go and meet with them in a Churn-In study break and have one-on-one time with a professor that you may otherwise never get to meet with in a 150-person lecture hall.
The Churn program in general has been kind of like English major therapy because I definitely have had my fair share of existential major crises, and I know that I have other students there, and I have a mentor there, and I have the professors in the English department there to really help me get through that and kind of understand what it is that I really love about English and literature.
When I was a freshman, like, there are a lot of things that I didn't know about the English department, and I don't know, like, since it's like such a big department, it's kind of hard to like get to know people, like especially when you're in your first year.
I was having kind of a crisis of faith, so to speak, and that I didn't know if I wanted to stay at this school in this major, or like in the area. And I spoke with my mentor a few times, showed up to more meetings, kind of reflected more on what we did in those classes, and I started having a more positive attitude. Like I remembered why I love doing this. I love studying this.
You know, it makes you feel like there's somebody who's already been through kind of the same things that you have, and it's nice to have somebody who really helps to guide you through this system, because Berkeley is Berkeley's big, Berkeley's scary. I'm not going to lie, as much as I love it, but really it just helps to have somebody there like who's willing to help you out.
One thing I've seen is that in discussions they'll be much more ready to offer ideas much more quickly. So over the course of the year I've had some students that I've mentored for 2 semesters, and it's been really great to see some of them be much quicker to open up, to offer their ideas, to be confident in their ideas.
I've noticed that from the beginning of the semester, when they turn to me to ask questions or bring up topics, eventually they do that on their own. They learn to facilitate conversations with each other.
I took a group of Churn-In students to see a Tom Stoppard play off campus called The Coast of Utopia, and it was so exciting to see the students there. I got there 30 minutes early, and they were all already there and all dressed up. And just talking to them while we waited for the play to begin, I realized that it was the first time a lot of them had been to a theater before.
One of the things that I really liked about getting to be a mentor was just exposing students to the resources that there are here at Berkeley. So often you ask them, have you been to the PFA? Have you been to BAM? Have you been to the Bancroft? Have you even been up in the Campanile? And they say, no, I always sort of meant to go there or do that or something like that. And so having a chance to expose them to those riches, to those resources that we have here on the campus is really special.
When I started as a Churn-In mentor in the fall, I had a completely different dissertation project. Once I switched to this new project, which is focused on education and pedagogy and narratives about learning, I'm just having such a great time working on my project. Thanks to inspiration from my Churn-In students, I know absolutely that I will finish.
It's been a great thing to be able to talk about in my application materials. In the interview that I had for the job that I ended up landing, I ended up talking about the Churn-In program for a few minutes because it was an interview at a small liberal arts college, and it was really important to be able to make the case for why I would be able to flourish in that kind of atmosphere coming from such a big place as Cal.
Honestly, I think the most important thing for the students I've had is just getting together as a community. I think all of the work that they do together to think about texts in the Churn-In program, to think about the English major, about careers, is finally secondary to coming together as a group and talking to each other about their lives and about what it is to be at Berkeley, what it is to be an English major. It all weaves together, but when I see them really get talking to each other about how they live, what their interests are, how they can support each other, I think that's when the magic of the Churn-In program really happens.